Fast becoming as popular here as it's been in the rest of the world.
Soccer is the fastest growing sport in America right now, and it's growing fastest among the youth of North America. Starting at this grassroots level, soccer is spreading like wildfire. Youngsters love it, their parents love it. People from all walks of life have soccer fever. People like Henry Kissinger, chairman of the board of the North American Soccer League.
That's right. When I was a boy, I played soccer and I watched a lot of games, and I've been following it ever since.
With 24 teams in cities from coast to coast, the North American Soccer League has already become the nation's third largest pro sports league. And thanks to a major marketing campaign, the NASL has had tremendous success selling products that help fans identify with their teams.
Soccer in the United States is attracting young families, many from the suburbs, and there are lots of women and children in the stands.
With NASL teams playing in attractive stadiums, whole families are flocking to games. Already more than 2 million boys and girls are playing organized soccer in 1978. Studies predict that by the early 1980s, more than 5 million kids will be playing. Children are bringing their parents. Parents are bringing their friends. And soon the stadium parking lot looks like a giant picnic ground. If you thought tailgating parties only happened at other sporting events, take another look. Soccer is the newest sports happening.
Soccer is not only here to stay, but will be perhaps in the ultimate, the biggest big league of all.
A soccer player must leap like an acrobat, compete aggressively for possession, and control a ball with his feet better than most people can with their hands. He needs the quickness of a sprinter, plus the endurance of a marathon runner. Because in soccer, the action is non-stop. That's part of its great appeal. Fans are hypnotized by 90 minutes of fast, freewheeling action. The patterns constantly shifting, the players whirling, all that power and finesse leading up to the ultimate exciting moment, goal. There's nothing quite like the explosive excitement of a ball crashing into the net. It produces great joy, both for the players who have created it and for the fans who help them celebrate. Soccer has moments of controversy, frustration, and dejection. There is disappointment when a hometown player gets thrown out of a game. And when a star player scores a breathtaking goal only to have it disallowed because a teammate was offside. And then there are those beautiful shots that hit the posts, as exciting sometimes as the ones that flash into the net. Soccer today means nationally televised games, halftime shows, cheerleaders. It holds forth the prospect of exciting international competition as well, for already many NASL teams are playing games against some of the best teams in the world.
Soccer is the world game. There will ultimately be be World Cup play involving a team from the United States.
10 of the 11 players on a team use all their dazzling footwork, all their sharpest passes to try to beat one man. And there's tremendous pressure on that one man, the goalkeeper. Sometimes leaping high to catch the ball or punching it away to safety, and other times diving courageously at the feet of the oncoming forwards. When you're not cheering for your team scoring a goal, you may be cheering for your goalkeeper's dramatic save. The NASL features some of the greatest players in the world, as well as rising young stars from the U.S. and Canada. And as the millions of youngsters now playing soccer grow up, we'll have more and more NASL stars emerging from our own hometowns, and more fans clamoring to watch them. Those fans will be treated to some of the most skillful and exciting moments in sports. There could hardly be a better argument for the beauty of soccer than this play, the NASL Goal of the Year. Graceful running, deft passing, perfect finishing, and moments of sheer joy. This is NASL soccer.
The man that's probably most responsible for the soccer explosion in North America, the great Pelé. Still an adoring figure to these fans here at Giant Stadium and around the world. All right, there were a lot of highlights in game one, won by Manchester City 3-2 over Roma. There's the first goal of the game, a free kick. And Dana miraculously hooks it in the near post corner. And to a surprise and stunned Roma team, and it's 1-0. Roma came back, and Ancelotti with a great dummy pass, stepped over by Ogilvy, or checked it by Bartolome, and he fires it under Platt to tie the game at 1. Ogilvy got an assist on that play. Now, with the game at 1-1, another free kick for Manchester City. Dana, who was our Molson player of the game, sets it up. Over to Stepanovic at the right of the box. Stepanovic got it to Daly. Now watch Daly beat Roca right there and fires a hard shot that hit inside the post and went into the goal to make it 2-1. Tremendous shot by Daly, and it gave City the lead 2-1. Now it's Roma attacking, and a beautiful give and go coming through the blocks. This is Ugolati, and a shot hits the post. Hit the post. A near miss for Roma. And then it's City playing again. Here's Dennis Tuitt with a hard shot and a great save. So it was 2-1 Manchester City leading at the end of the first half. In the second half, Sugro coming inside in a great pass, beats the goalkeeper, stays on his feet, keeps his balance, and fires before Spinozzi can get to him. And it made it a 3-1 match. But Roma was not going to lie down and play dead. Roma kept battling back, and finally on this free kick, a miraculous kick by Bartolome, banged it into the corner off the free kick situation. The third such goal we had in the game off a dead ball situation, the free kick. And the final score was 3-2. City in a very entertaining game over Roma. This second game is being brought to you in part by Light Beer. Everything you've always... All right, the starting lineup for Vancouver in the goal. Bruce Grobbelaar. The defenders, Bob Belaytho, number 10. Rudy Krol, the great captain of the Dutch national team. John Craven, number 2, and Bobby Lenarduzzi, number 5. In the midfield, Steve Kemper, number 4. Alan Ball, he runs the show for them in the middle. And Gary Gray, number 25. And the forwards, Carl Valentine, 21. The great goal scorer, Trevor Weimark, number 9. Ray Hankin, number 8.
Okay, the Cosmos come up with Birkenmeyer in goal, of course. Eskandarian starting at right back. Durgan and Alberto in the middle. Ricky Davis on the other side. In the middle of the field, they're going to come along, I'm sure, with the usual group of Naiskins, Beckenbauer, and Bogicevic. There you see them. And up front to Romero, the great Giorgio Canaglia, and of course Roberto Cabañas now getting his first start after an electrifying performance here as a substitute in the game against Roma.
You're going to have to watch very closely these Vancouver players. They have very tough numbers to pick up. Blue and white jerseys with a red number, and the number takes up part of the blue as well as the white, so it's almost impossible to see the numbers. Thank heavens for the red shock of hair of Alan Ball, who will have the ball a lot of today, and at least we'll pick him up. And the match is underway. Ball plays it on the right side. A couple of players bear watching. Ball, we mentioned, Weimark, the great goal scorer, and of course Kroll, who's one of the great defenders in the world today. And he's a welcome addition to this Vancouver club that is off to a very tough start in the regular NASL season. Defending champs are 4-6, and finding out how tough it is to be a champ and have every club get up for you every single night. But they're an outstanding team. Do not be fooled by the 4-6 record. The Cosmos aren't being fooled. That's Weimark, number 9. He'll be a marked man today. Beckenbauer now, and this crowd is really up. This crowd is really ready for this match. All right, Bogey now plays it to Carlos Alberto, who did not play because of suspension when these two clubs played for the National Conference Championship last year. They played here in effect in the semifinals. All right, here's Bogey on the right to Romero, whose cross comes in the box, and the header by Quinaglia hit the post. Quinaglia's header hit the post. As Romero's brilliant cross went over the defender's head. That was over Kroll's head, I believe.
Well, the Cosmos must have held the ball for about a minute and a half here with about 25 consecutive passes, and a great flighted ball there by Romero, who's done this a number of times in the season so far, to Quinaglia's head, and now you see the ball swinging wide, and it catches just the angle of the crossbar and goes out and over.
That was not Kroll, but Craven that ball went over, and Quinaglia was left in there for the headshot. All right, the ball comes through, a beautiful ball on the left. Here's a cross to the far post, not very well taken by Gary Gray, number 25, and it sets up a goal kick for Cosmos. Cosmos all in white. Vancouver in blue and white, trimmed with red. They're great rivals. And this crowd, I know a lot of them came out to see Roma and Manchester City, but you can believe that the Cosmos in Vancouver could draw this kind of a crowd with no one else in the stadium. Right, Alberto, who's been brilliant the entire tournament. To Cabañas, the 19-year-old speedster from Paraguay. Cabañas, and they say the ball was over the goal line, over the sideline. It'll be a throw in Vancouver. So Vancouver having their first look at Cabañas and Romero, and also their first look at a rejuvenated Giorgio Chinaglia. Vancouver's tough defensive team, and the Cosmos will really be tested with Vancouver today. Sliding tackle by Naskins, got it over to Ricky Davis, and now to Carlos Alberto. To Franz Beckenbauer, close marking Vancouver, not giving the Cosmos a lot of room. Chinaglia was under pressure from Craven and gave it away. Craven getting it up to Alan Ball. The little general of Vancouver, now to Valentine, the speedy winger. And the Cosmos break it up. Eskandarian to Carlos Alberto. Got rid of it beautifully. And now here comes Bogey. Being shadowed to Franz Romero. Quick little touch to Bogicevic. Cosmos have been playing brilliant soccer of late. Chinaglia is called offside. Remember, no 35-yard line in this game as well, so this will be the first time the Cosmos in Vancouver have played in the last couple of years without a 35-yard line, Seamus.
That's right, and there have been some explosive goals coming from afar out, if you remember, between the Cosmos and Vancouver. Some great runs in from the about 35 yards out, and some tremendous headers, too. And, of course, there have been some great goals by head in this tournament, particularly by Weimark, who got a couple up there in Vancouver that were just sensational.
Ball trying to get the ball to Gray over here on the near sideline, and he collects it. Romero comes to play him. The ball to the head of the box, knocked away by Ricky Davis. This is Kroll. Intercepted by Bogicevic. Cosmos coming. Bogey now runs it toward Chinaglia in the box. And Giorgio could not control the ball. And the referee has called a foul. Called a foul on Vancouver outside the box. Chinaglia was fouled.
Yeah, Steve Kember came in there from the midfield defense after he had been victimized by the through ball. Made terrific ground to cover and catch Chinaglia, and did just take him down as he was trying to tackle him.
All right, let's see what they do with the free kick. Beckenbauer, Bogey, Chinaglia on the left. Giorgio's been taking a lot of these. Beckenbauer's been touching it. There it goes. Shot, and it was deflected. It'll bring on a corner kick. Cosmos have been working a lot, Seamus, on their corner kicks under Weisweiler.
A lot on set plays in general, I think, Jim. Corner kicks, goal kicks, free kicks, and of course we've seen the value in today alone in Giant Stadium of the rehearsed free kick.
Here it comes. Durgan at that far post had the ball go over his head, and Bogey's corner kick a bit too far. This telecast is authorized under rights granted by the North American Soccer League. Any rebroadcast or other retransmission of the fixtures, accounts, or descriptions without the express written consent of the North American Soccer League is strictly prohibited. Great soccer crowd at Giant Stadium. Two outstanding teams, maybe the two best in the North American Soccer League. Although clubs like Tampa may argue that point. The long cross in the box, and it's taken down there by Naskins to Ricky Davis. No score in the match. We've just started. We've played 6 minutes. The winner will win the cup. But if this game ends in a tie, there'll be no shootout, no overtime, and the Cosmos would win on points. From Giant Stadium, Cosmos nothing, Vancouver nothing. We'll be back with more Transatlantic Soccer. No score in the match. The Cosmos and Vancouver in the championship game of the first Transatlantic Challenge Cup. Cosmos in white if you're just tuning in. Bogey with the ball. Bogey of the Cosmos. Vladislav Bogicevic. Great international player from Yugoslavia. To Chinaglia. Turning quickly, going to the right. Chinaglia being flanked by two 19-year-old Paraguayan national players, Cabañas and Romero. Now Bogey a yard over the midfield line. Beckenbauer is in an advanced position. And here comes Alberto. Cosmos attacking in the box. Headed high in the air, not a very good clearing header. Beckenbauer challenging for the head ball, and Vancouver comes off.
Jim, let me tell you that one of the things I found out from doing those on-field interviews between games is that the wind is a lot stronger than I had thought. And in fact, you could just see that curling ball that came in, accounting for the misheader, really, in the defense. And that's going to be something to watch if either of these teams insist on going to the air.
The wind appears to be in Vancouver's favor in the first half. Here's
Yes.
Valentine on the sideline. The slide tackle by Eskandarian. A surprise starter at fullback today, and it awards a throw-in for Vancouver. So Cabañas and Eskandarian each making their first start. And Eskandarian bothered Valentine enough to have him knock it over the far sideline. Valentine's been a Vancouver player that's given the Cosmos all kinds of trouble the last couple of years, Seamus.
He really has, because of his tremendous acceleration through the midfield. He has effectively pushed the ball forward and really exploited any space in the middle of the field that the Cosmos allowed him, and was instrumental in 3 or 4 crucial goals, really, in that in the entire series of games they played, both in the league regular season and in the playoffs.
And that may be the reason why Eskandarian, who has more speed than Bruce Wilson, is playing here, is starting in this game.
Well, it's certainly unusual to see Bruce Wilson out of the Cosmos lineup.
Kinaya got it to Bogey. Vancouver not allowing the Cosmos room. Davis back to Bogey. Now to Naskins. Johan Naskins. Quickly to Romero. Romero cuts it to the left. Now over the head of Beckenbauer, but Cabañas with that great speed ran it down. And now Alberto. Bogey. And it's one away. Strong defense, that was Kroll. When you talk about Kroll, you talk about a world-class defender, Seamus.
Well, a lot of people in Europe, I think, are still convinced that this is the best central defender in the world today. And here he is playing in North America. Again, just another indication of that trend for this league to start drawing players in their prime, and not just simply players closing in retirement.
All right, here comes Kroll. Hard shot. And a good save on one hop. Off the AstroTurf to Hubert Birkenmeyer. And Rudy Kroll shows you he not only can defend, he can hit a shot. Rudy Kroll banged that from about 30 yards, Seamus.
Not a bad idea, really. You know, a goalkeeper doesn't have much of the ball. You see it coming through a crowd there. The goalkeeper not having much of a chance to play the ball early. Why not test him from far away?
Back to the live action. Here's Ricky Davis playing it outside to Romero. Romero marked very closely, tries to get around the defender. Lenarduzzi kind of pushed him off, and they roll it back to the goalkeeper, Bruce Krivelar. Now to Kroll. No score in the match, 34-11 to play in the first half.
That Lenarduzzi-Romero matchup is going to be a fascinating one to watch throughout this game. Lenarduzzi has been a very strong player for this club for several years, and has been particularly tough on the wingers of the Cosmos.
And a native Canadian, back from Vancouver, headed out of the box. Cabañas trying to trap the ball, lost it. Vancouver now a shot easily taken, trying to catch Birkenmeyer by surprise, and Birkenmeyer was ready. Johan Naskins, former teammate of Kroll's. Alberto bangs it upfield. Uncharacteristic play by Carlos, has banged it up over the line.
Right. Well, Giorgio came very deep there to allow Cabañas to slip in behind him, but Cabañas made his sprint just as Carlos Alberto was swinging his foot to impact the ball, and the timing of the run and the kick were just a bit off.
All right, Vancouver now, the midfield line. Krolls had allowed the ball early on. Now ball. Weimar, and they played on the right. Alan Ball. Oh, here's the ball in the box, and Alberto got a foot on it, knocked it over the goal line, sets up a corner kick. Now Vancouver, a very dangerous club with the corners. Two players to really watch here, Weimar and John Craven, a defender who's very good in the air, and he gets right in the middle of that box, and he's tough. Rudy Kroll's no slouch either. Comes out, Eskandarian won it in the air. Eski very good in the air. Here's a shot that's deflected off the back of Bogey. It'll be another corner kick set up.
Neither team really has established its rhythm yet in this game, but Vancouver so far looking as though they're more willing to have a crack at goal from out far, more willing to put a lot of immediate threat on the center of the goal. Cosmos playing in a little bit more possession.
All right, that short corner now. Ball gets it back. Here's the cross, and it's headed by Bogey over to Eskandarian, and again over the goal line, sets up another corner kick. Again, the short corner. Ball comes around now, lays it back, and now in the box, it's headed out by Alberto. So it's Vancouver pressure now. Valentine touches to the right. Ball had it knocked down. Vancouver attacking Cosmos. Great little give and go, wasn't it? That's good soccer right there. Beautiful, beautiful idea by Vancouver.
Well, Alan Ball is just a master. He's not just simply a grafter in midfield. He's also very quick at this give and go thing. Here you see the give and go. The ball comes right back on a one touch. He traps it well, keeps it in play, and just let it get a half pace away from him, and was not able to get as much force behind him as he'd like. But Ball is very dangerous and was the most valuable player in the soccer ball last year.
All right, here's Bogey now with Valentine on him. Bogey plays it to Naskins outside the box on the right. Johan Naskins now against Kroll. Ricky Davis. What a good ball to Eskandarian. Esky in the box. Craven heads it away. Davis wound up to hit it. He had it blocked down. Romero off the chest of Bogey. Touches over here to Naskins. Johan Naskins against Kroll. And lost the ball. Vancouver with it. Still no score in the game. Gray back to Leonard Doozy. 30 minutes and 14 seconds to play in a scoreless first half for the Cup. Alberto wins it. The Franz. Beckenbauer to Carlos. To Naskins to Carlos. Boy, we've seen some great soccer. Romero in this tournament. And broken free, and Vancouver a tough defensive team. This will be the toughest game the Cosmos will have in this tournament, Seamus, and that's something to say when you think about Manchester City and Roma, great international teams. To say that a fellow NASL team will be their toughest game. From Giant Stadium, Cosmos nothing, Vancouver nothing. We'll be back with more transatlantic soccer after this. All right, still no score in the match. Jim Carvelis, Seamus Mallon, Giant Stadium. The Cosmos in Vancouver, the last game of this Transatlantic Challenge Cup. And Cosmos can win or tie and win the cup. Here's Davis to Naskins. Off his foot. Quinalha goes, but the goalkeeper alertly comes out. Grobelar and picks it off. All right, Vancouver now. Broken up by Eskandarian. Well, the fans here are really good soccer fans, and they've really come to enjoy this game. They're applauding every pass, every good defensive play.
Well, you saw Esky break up a play there. Eskandarian had a tremendous battle here last year in Giant Stadium with Willie Johnson. Ended up with some physical exchange, and I think they both were ejected. But even before that, it was a wonderful cat and mouse game with a heavy dose of good physical tackling involved too. Willie Johnson not on the team with Vancouver today.
All right, here's Cabañas on the sideline, and the Cosmos should have a throw in here. Cabañas, a 19-year-old Paraguayan. I believe they may have called, yeah, it was off Vancouver last. Cosmos will throw in. Long throw into the box coming for Quinalha, headed out of the box. Valentine has it. Eskandarian with him, and they clear it for Alberto. Look at that nice little touch by Carlos. You know, I'm not used to that. I've been seeing it for 3 years, but you still never seem to get over how easily he can do difficult things, for lack of a better way to say that. And the Cosmos steal. That was Romero over to Beckenbauer. Cosmos running over to Cabañas on the left. Now Cabañas has Romero in support. Little jitterbug step, gets the cross around, headed high in the box. Still in the box. And Vancouver knocks it over the far sideline. And again, the speed of Cabañas puts the Vancouver defense under pressure.
Well, Kember, the midfield player who looks as though he's going to play the most defensively of those four, really has his work cut out for him, because he's got to come back and try to shut down those combinations worked between Cabañas and Beckenbauer.
Ricky Davis was rushed into that pass. Cabañas with the defender all over him, and they call Cabañas for coming over the top. From Giant Stadium, a scoreless match, 25-39 to play in the first half. The Cosmos in Vancouver will be back with more transatlantic soccer after this. All right, still no score in this match. The Cosmos in Vancouver. 24 minutes and 22 seconds to play in the first half. Ball to Kroll. And a foul is going to be called on Ricky Davis. No. Now the shot deflected. Comes over the goal line. It's going to bring up a corner kick. Last touch by the Cosmos, Seamus.
Looks like Ricky Davis is spending a lot of time trying to keep track of Trevor Weimark, and boy, that's not a particular matchup any defender would like to try to be involved in, because Weimark is so experienced, and we saw him here in Soccer Bowl last year just accelerate through the Tampa Bay defense and they create a couple of goals that won Vancouver the championship. So Ricky's got his hands full if that's his assignment.
Here comes the corner, and Birkenmeyer is out to punch it away, and the shot comes over the top. Shanked it over the top. That shot was taken by Steve Kember. I still can't get over these. The